Hi everyone, in this video we're going to discuss about one of the most important method of asexual reproduction, and that is spore formation. In previous video we have already discussed about budding and fragmentation. So let's begin with spore formation. We all know that there are some organisms present on earth which reproduces with the help of spore formation. Okay, there are actually special structures present in the body of these organisms. Okay, and these structures are known as sporangium. Okay, what they are called? Sporangium. So sporangium is singular and sporangia is actually plural. Okay, so these sporangia actually produces spores, and these spores, they spread into the air, or they move through water or different medium, and under favorable conditions they actually result in the formation of new organism. So spores are generally dormant reproductive cells. Okay, it's written here dormant. The meaning of term dormant is they remain inactive until and unless the favorable conditions arise. Okay, so until and unless spores will not get favorable conditions, they will not germinate. Okay, so spores are dormant reproductive cells which germinate and produces new organisms only in favorable conditions, and the process of formation of spores is actually known as sporulation or sporogenesis. Okay, so the process of formation of spores is called sporulation or sporogenesis, and these spores, they remain dormant until and unless favorable conditions arise. The two very common examples of organisms which actually reproduces by producing spores are algae and fungus. So first we will see spore formation in algae. There are certain examples of algae. The first example is Clamidomonas. Okay, so this Clamidomonas is the algae which actually reproduces by producing spores. The spores of this Clamidomonas is actually known as zoospores. Okay, they are called zoospores, and these spores are motile and they have two flagella. You can look here in the diagram. They have two flagella. Okay, and they are motile. Motile means they can move from one place to another place, and they have two flagella. That means these zoospores, they move from one place to another place with the help of these two flagella. Okay, so these are the zoospores of an algae which is called Clamidomonas, and these zoospores helps in the formation of new organism of Clamidomonas. Next is another algae which is called Eulothrix. Okay, Eulothrix. Okay, so Eulothrix is also an algae. This is the microscopic image of this particular algae, and this algae also reproduces by producing zoospores. Third algae is Ido Gonium. Okay, this is Ido Gonium. Now this algae is actually filamentous algae. If you look at this algae under water or under microscope in water, you can see long green color filament like structure. Okay, so this algae Ido Gonium is actually filamentous. It's long and its structure is long and like a filament. Okay, and right side you can see here, this is the image of Ido Gonium algae under microscope, under electron microscope. Okay, and you can make out that this Ido Gonium algae is actually producing zoospores. Okay, so you see here, this one is the zoospore of this Ido Gonium algae. Here flagella is actually not visible, but this Ido Gonium algae also reproduces by producing zoospore, and the zoospores of this algae is also having flagella, two flagella. Okay, so there are three algae whose name you must remember: Clamidomonas, Eulothrix, and Ido Gonium. And all these three algae, they reproduce by producing zoospores. The next example of spore formation is fungus. Okay, so spore formation can also be found in fungus. The spores of fungus are actually not present alone. Okay, they are present in clusters. Okay, they are present in group, and that this group of spore is actually known as conidia. Okay, it is called conidia. C-O-N-I-D-I-A. Okay, C-O-N-I-D-I-A. So this is called conidia. Now this is the conidia of Penicillium. You all must have studied in grade 8 about Penicillium fungus. Okay, Penicillium notatum. This is the fungus. From this fungus, we actually prepare antibiotic penicillin, which is actually required for treating pneumonia fever. Okay, so these are actually the spores or the conidia of the penicillin fungus. You can look here in the right side image. These are the conidia of penicillin. Okay, this is the microscopic image of the penicillin fungus. Next is Aspergillus. Aspergillus is also a fungus, and here you can see in the picture, this is the conidia of Aspergillus. These are the spores of Aspergillus. Okay, Aspergillus is the different fungus, and here this side, this is the image of Aspergillus in microscope, under microscope. So these small circle-like structure, dot-like structures are nothing but the conidia of Aspergillus. Okay, so these two are the fungus which actually reproduces with the help of spore formation. And here is the difference between zoospore and conidia. Okay, so this is zoospore and this is conidia, or you can say a conidiospore. Okay, this is conidia. Okay, so these zoospores are generally flagellated because this flagella actually helps them in moving from one place to another place. Okay, and this zoospore is formed inside the sporangium. But this conidia is actually plural and conidium is singular. Okay, so this conidium is actually non-flagellated. Conidium means they're talking about only one conidia. So these are actually generally non-flagellated and they are formed at the tip of conidiophores. Okay, so this structure is actually known as conidiophore. Okay, so at the tip of conidiophore, these spores are formed, which is known as conidium or conidia. Okay, and here this zoospore is actually formed inside the spore formation cell, which is known as sporangium. So this is the difference. Zoospores are flagellated and conidia are actually non-flagellated, and zoospores are formed inside sporangium. That's why they are known as endogenous. Okay, endogenous means inside some structure, and conidia are formed at the tip of conidiophores. Okay, and hence they are called exogenous. Okay, their formation is exogenous. So the common feature between zoospore and conidia is that they both are actually asexual reproductive structures. They both actually helps in the process of asexual reproduction in algae and fungus respectively. So we are done with spore formation. In next video, we will talk about vegetative propagation. Take care till then. Bye-bye.